Okay, dear students, so let's discuss some more things regarding the taxonomy. So in previous class we got to know what is the meaning of classification and then the taxonomy and what are the processes which are basics to the taxonomy. So next is, so this taxonomy is not something new for the human beings. Means, so we are not discussing about the taxonomy, or we are not using this taxonomical classification in these days, and the process was previously used by our ancestors also, but in a different way. Let's see that one now. See, in early days, means our ancestors, they needed the sources for the basic needs. Means they needed to find the sources in order to fulfill their basic needs. So what are those basic needs? Means nothing but food, clothing and shelter. So these three are the very basic need for the human beings. So in earlier days, human beings were used to find the sources for the basic needs, nothing but for food and for cloth and for shelter. So earlier classification of organisms were based on the uses of the organisms or uses of various organisms. What is the meaning of that one? Means earlier classification of various organisms was based on for what purpose that organism may be useful for the human beings. Which organism can be used for food? Which organism can be used for the clothing? Means the leather or the hide of that particular organism, which can be used as a cloth to cover the body, right? So, and the other, for example, the which a plant can be used to build a shelter or the house. So based on these uses, the organisms were used to organisms were classified in earlier days. So this classification of organism comes under the taxonomy only, right? So the taxonomy is not new to the human beings, but it was known to our early human beings also, or our ancestors also, but in a different way. Their classification was based on the uses of organisms. So these early human beings were not only interested in knowing more about organisms and their diversities. So they are not only interested in knowing about different kind of organisms and their diversities, but also they try to relate or find out relationships between these different type of organisms. What is the meaning of that one? ಅಂದರೆ ಮುಂಚೆ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಯಿತು, ಅವರು ಹಲವಾರು ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಆರ್ಗನಿಸಮ್ಸನ್ನು ಕೇವಲ ಎಷ್ಟು ರೀತಿ ಇದ್ದಾವೆ, ಓಕೆ, ಹೌ ಮೆನಿ ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಚ್ ಆರ್ಗನಿಸಮ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ದೇರ್, ಫಾರ್ ವಾಟ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ದೇ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅನ್ನೋದಷ್ಟನ್ನೇ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಆ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಆರ್ಗನಿಸಮ್ ನಡುವೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ರಿಲೇಷನ್ಶಿಪ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದಾವೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. Such a branch of science is referred as systematics. Means as human beings since long not only interested in knowing more about the organisms and their diversities, but also they were interested in knowing about relationships between them or among them. Such a system or such a study or the branch of study was referred as systematics. So this word is very important, remember. So the systematics, it was derived from a Latin word. It was derived from Latin word. So what that Latin word? Latin word, that is systema. So what is the meaning of this systema? What is the meaning of systema? So systema means it is nothing but the scientific arrangement of living organisms. a scientific arrangement of organisms or an orderly arrangement of organisms under the taxonomy, that is only called as systema. So what is the meaning of systema? Means nothing but it is a process of scientific arrangement of the organisms is called as systematics, or that study is called as systematics. So this systema name is also used by Carolus Linnaeus in order to name his publications. The same name, this systema, this name or word was used by, this one was used by the Carolus Linnaeus for his publications, Let's see which are those publications later. Before that, make a note of these points. See, so what was the name given for the publication by Carolus Linnaeus after using the term systema? Means he named his publication as Systema Naturae. So after the systematics was derived from the Latin word systema. So he used the term systema for naming his publication regarding the description of the animal species. So here Systema Naturae, which was published in 1758 by Carolus Linnaeus, contains a description of or about 4,326 species of animals. See this number and when it got published and what is the name of the publication and who published it. Very important for the NEET examination. So this one is highly important for the NEET examination. Remember it. Systema Naturae contains a description regarding the 4,326 species of animals, which was published in 1758. Next one is Species Plantarum, and it was published in 1753, and it contains the description regarding 5,900 species of plants in this publication or in this book. So in NEET examination you may be asked with a question such as Species Plantarum contains a description of how many plants? 5,000, 5,100, 5,600 or 4,600 or 6,000. If there is no 5,900 option is there, close to the 5,900 is 6,000, right? You have to select that 6,000 as the correct option for that one, right? So like that, these numbers and then the publication name and when they got published are very important for the NEET examination. Remember them. So next, after these publications, the biological names are the binomial names of the plants and animals becomes valid. Means binomial plant names become effective from 1st May of 1753. See, in 1753, Species Plantarum was published, which contains description regarding around 5,900 species of plants. After the description only, whatever the scientific names are given for the plants, they become effective from that date. Similarly, the scientific names are the binomial names of the animals become effective from August 1st, 1758 after the publication of Systema Naturae. See, these are also very important for the NEET examination only, and these questions will not be asked in even CET also. So this is not important for the PUC or CET, but only important for NEET examination. So take note of these points and highlight them. Next, the systematics. So we were discussing regarding systematics, right? So systematics that takes into the account of evolutionary relationship among the organisms. So the evolutionary relationship among the organisms which is called as, so such a relationship between the organisms is called as phylogeny. That is called as phylogeny. So what do you mean by phylogeny or phylogenetics? Means the evolutionary relationship between the organisms. What relationships are present between organisms in its evolutionary line? So systematics also takes into the account of evolutionary relationships between the organisms. And the systematics includes classification, identification, and then the characterization or the nomenclature of the organisms. They also comes under the systematics only. Okay, so make a note of these points. Later we'll discuss regarding the taxonomical hierarchy. So what are the taxonomical categories then means? The next topic is regarding taxonomic categories. See, the classification of organisms is not a single step process. So in a single step we cannot classify the organisms into a different convenient categories. So it requires, or it is a process which involves the hierarchy of steps, means one after the another. Here hierarchy means nothing but one after another. So like many steps are involved, okay, which follows one after the another. Such a process is taxonomical classification or the categorization. So in such classification, each step in the hierarchy of the steps, each step represents a category or taxon. So each step in the taxonomical categorization or classification is called as a rank or the category. So as category is a part of the taxonomical arrangement of the organisms, so each category is called as a taxonomic category. So have you got the meaning of taxonomical category then? So in taxonomical arrangement of the organisms, each category is called as a taxonomic category. So what do you mean by this taxonomic category then? So taxonomic category can be defined as it is the position or status of a particular taxon in hierarchical classification of organisms. When an organism is classified in a hierarchical manner, what is the position or status of particular taxon? That is called as a taxonomic category. So we will better understand this after giving an example. So example of taxonomic categories: class, order, family, like that. So many more are there. To which class that organism belongs to? The same organism will belong to a particular class and particular order or the family. So this order or the class or the family are the particular taxonomic categories that represent a status or the position of that class or the order or the family in that hierarchical arrangement. So in order to understand this more better way, let us discuss more regarding this classification now. So each category is referred to as a unit of classification. For the classification of organisms, the categories which are, means organism is grouped into various category, right? So in that each category, in this each category is referred to as a unit of the classification. So what is the unit of classification of organisms means? That is nothing but the category. So in a taxonomical classifications, what happens? The living organisms which are closely related or which closely resemble to one another, they are placed together in one groups. The living organisms which are closely resembling one another, they are placed or kept in one group, and such one group is representing one category or the one rank. One category or one rank. Example is insects. So example is insects. So which contains organisms with 3 pairs of jointed appendages. Jointed appendages. So here insects is a name of the category or the group which is representing the organisms containing 3 pairs of jointed appendages. Like that, many convenient groups are formed based on the similarities between observable characteristic feature of the living organisms. Let's see how the group with some similarities can be placed in a higher position. So before that, make a note of these points now. So the groups, such for example, the insect is the one group. So like that, the many other groups can also be formed based on the observations. Such groups, if they have similarities between them or some close resembling between one group to the another group, such groups are kept under or combined into the another larger group. So smaller groups, if they share some similarity between them, they are combined into larger group. So this larger group represents a particular taxon in different position. Such larger groups, if they have some similarity between them, then they are combined into still more larger groups. Like that, okay, if animal or the plant group is having a natural relationship between them and such a combined form of the group or combined form group of animals or the plants is only known as taxonomic categories. Means animal or the plant group having natural relations between them, that is only known as a taxonomic category. So how many categories can be formed in a taxonomical arrangement of the organisms means? So there are 7 major categories in a taxonomical arrangement of the organisms. They are also called as obligate categories. Now let us see what is the list of those 7 categories and what is the name given for those 7 categories and what is the order of writing these categories. Okay. So make a note of these points now. So this is what the representation of taxonomical hierarchy, which can also be called as a Linnaean hierarchy of taxonomic classification or arrangement. So the hierarchy of major categories can be represented like this, where the 7 major categories are, okay, the species, next is genus, next is family, next is order, next is class, next is family or division, and the higher category is the kingdom. So among these 7 categories, this kingdom is the highest category, highest taxonomic category. And this species is the lowest taxonomic category. So here, from kingdom to a species, this is called as descending order. What it is called as descending order. That is, if it is considered from kingdom to species, that is kingdom, then family or division, next class, order, family. See here, sorry, this is not the family, hold on, this is phylum. This one is phylum. So from kingdom to phylum or division, next class, order, family, genus, and then the species. This order is called as a descending order. If it is considered from species to kingdom, then it is called as ascending order. Ascending order of taxonomical hierarchy. So, did you get this one? So, how a taxonomical hierarchy can be represented and what that order is. So, ascending order of writing taxonomical hierarchy includes from species to genus, genus to family, family to order, order to class, class to phylum in case of animals, or division in case of plants, and then phylum or division to the highest category, that is kingdom. If it is written from kingdom to phylum, phylum to class, order, family, genus and species, then it is descending order. Is it clear, guys? Then, see, based on this order, there will be a definite question in CET or the NEET examination. That is, for example, order is interpolated between order ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಯಾಟಗರಿ, ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಾನಮಿ ಕ್ಯಾಟಗರಿ ಯಾವ ಎರಡರ ಮಧ್ಯ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಅದರದು. If you remember the sequential order of this taxonomical hierarchy, immediately you can say that one, the order comes between the class and family, class and family. But how to remember it in a easier manner? I will give you a sentence, you can remember this order, okay, lifelong by remembering that sentence. What the sentence means? Say for example, she is a girlfriend of cute PK. So here PK, instead of PK you can write like Praveen Kumar, or you can take my name also, Pradeep Kumar, or you can remember the movie PK also, right? Whatever is convenient for you. So she is a girlfriend of cute PK. Is this sentence is representing the taxonomical hierarchy or the order of taxonomical hierarchy? Yes. How to remember it means here she, the first letter S denotes species. Next G denotes genus. F denotes family. O denotes order. C denotes class or okay, this one is class. Next is phylum. P denotes phylum. K denotes kingdom. See how easily you can remember that order of the sequential order of taxonomical hierarchy. So is it easy to remember the sequential order of the taxonomical hierarchy? So it's very useful in order to answer any type of questions related to the sequential order of the taxonomical hierarchy. Hope you have enjoyed today's class, and if you have any doubts means you can ask me personally, and in next session we are going to discuss regarding the description of each and every category of taxonomical hierarchy. Thank you guys.